Um, Welcome back. I should say welcome back to me. Was away for 4 days at most lovely Kiawah Island, the same Kiawah Island that hosted the PGA Championship this couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. And it was a good vacation. I did get to play the Ocean Course on Monday. Played pretty well, actually. Shot an 89. And more important, I got to spend some time with Mrs. Sheets. Haven't really gotten out of here since, honestly, since COVID. We've taken a couple of things, done a couple of things, but there've been more, either dropping my son off or whatever it is. So this was the first actual vacation since March of 2020, and I was happy to have gotten that. Had a good weekend. So when y'all get here, we'll update a couple of things on the site, and then we'll get right into the slate, which I do think is very interesting. And I'll go over the things that I did in my builds. Take some questions. Yeah. And I've really embraced the not ancillary. I shouldn't say ancillary, but the other sports. Forget that I've done well in them. I've really enjoyed the learning process of learning what works, what doesn't, and things like that. Okay, first let's let Bobby in to the stream. There he is. And for those of you that didn't notice, Bobby's a little. He lost a little bit of weight off of his face since I last saw him, at least.
Yeah,
I did. Sorry, Rody, just you today. Excuse me. I apologize that you thought it was going to be just me. Don't worry, I got an actual expert in here. That's fine. So now Bobby's here, and now we can actually get some interesting information out there.
Hey, so at this point, I'm listening to you, buddy. You've been a lot hotter than I've been in DFS lately. So we can go ahead and listen to you. I'm not worried about.
Unfortunately, Rody, I didn't get a chance to get the. I saw slivers of it in the Discord, I think, and on Twitter. Your live final trip report. I don't know how you ended up actually doing in the contest, but I did see some pictures, and it looks as though you had a good time at least, and got to meet some of the dudes or whatever, dudes and dudettes or whatever was going on. But hopefully that was a good experience. So, one of these days we'll talk about these live finals. So what is it? Everybody just puts in their lineups and then they just kind of sweat it all on TV. Is that what happens in these things, Bobby? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's, cool. And then they have all kinds of events around there that are pretty fun. And, nice. We the tour and we had a pitching contest. They had a putting contest thing that wrote.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like there's a bunch of things that they tend to do for fun. It's a big party and it's goes on for a few days. So it's a good time. They go to I think they took them all to the game, the Rockies game as well. Yeah, just it's a good time. It was I really enjoyed all of the live finals I've been at, and then of course if Grant is your date, which I brought Grant as my +1 multiple times, and then there was plenty of times where he qualified also, and we had a big group with us. Then there was a lot of drinking involved on those trips for sure.
Couple of things kind of in the offing, just if you guys want sweats of the personalities here. So you guys didn't notice that a couple of days ago I won a seat into the 2,500 Mega Millions thing, whatever.
That should be fun.
Baseball, which is at the end of the week.
It's next week.
It's I think the 31st or something. Yeah, whatever.
Tuesday.
It's the 31st, whatever that is. Yeah, so Tuesday, I guess. So I'm gonna be in that, which put some work into that. Not that I don't put work into all of them, but I'll put a little extra work into that. And then a little update. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I told you in League of Legends, I won a seat to something called the King of the Rift. I won it a month or two ago. It was some 2K seat or something. They say that they plan to get this thing going in October. I am going to pronounce that thing doesn't fill until I'm going to say June. I'm going to say 9 months from now. There is just no way. There's like they need 100 people for it to fill, and it's like I'm like 23 right now, I think, or something like that. After running this thing for like 3 months, there's just no way that thing fills. But I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready whenever it fills. And for those of you that are interested, I did my first ever, by the way, League of Legends video today. What I did, now that we have Chan, doing the substantive review and talking about the games and stuff, I completely focused the whole video on lineup construction, just presuming that I'm not even going to put my opinions out there about the teams. How am I going to build the lineups using the numbers at my disposal? I think it was somewhat, and I think that it was, it's useful. So for those of you who are interested, go ahead and that's something that you can get for free, by the way. That's part of the YouTube channel. Doesn't even know what days they are. I wish I had that problem. Yes, yes, yeah, okay. Like I say, first world problems, Project Mayhem. I get it. It's cool. Yeah. But I bet you most satellite winners don't exactly know when their seat is that they won for. But that's okay. So, but I'm gonna be ready for it. I'll be ready to go. Anyway, so what do you think of tonight's? Let me tell you guys what I did. By the way, if you guys didn't, if you watched the video today, I was true to what I said. And one thing I did two things which I know are just going to not come back to get me, but it's just kind of like not only borderline irresponsible, but I'm doing it anyway. I artificially X'd out two things today, okay, for my lineups. I X'd out all of the Twins, and I X'd out all of the Woodruff. Those are the two things that I did. And
we are very similar today. Then.
Okay.
I can't get to the. I actually think, like, especially on. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get different, and it's weird because it's a big slate, but other than the pitching being spread out, it feels kind of small in terms of who people are going to use. And I think that, Washington is one stack I would take a look at, especially Soto, just even as a one-off. I think I would take a look at the White Sox for I mentioned, even though again I like Ray too. I think there's a flip side of that. And I think, that's the other one is that, the Woodruff thing, I don't think you should necessarily be stacking, but you've got guys like Moustakas who like yesterday, and it's going to happen again today, like 2% owned at 2,300 on FanDuel. Like, this doesn't make any sense, Right. He's too talented of a player to have that be the case. So there's a couple other cheapos that you could take against use a red or two if you're not playing Woodruff. If you're not playing Cabrera. I did get onto some Cabrera. I think that there is upside. I did look at the strikeout numbers I had they were from last year. His triple, maybe they were AA numbers. So they weren't. His strikeout rate this year has been incredible, 48 and 29 innings. It's also a very, very small sample size. And there is, as we always talk about with these young pitchers, there's always a flip side to what could happen if they have trouble finding the zone. This is his first start in the major leagues. Like, that's a big deal. It doesn't mean he's going to go out there and throw a gem like we should assume. I do think that the price is nice. I don't think you necessarily need it, but where I'm using him, and because I think he's going to end up being fairly chalky. I'm trying to figure out exactly what his ownership. I've got it at here. It's a little lower than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. I thought he would be about 20+%, and I still think he probably does in the bigger buy-in stuff. In those lineups, I'll play him with. That's where I'll use my White Sox stacks, who are expensive. You know what I mean? And get different in that way. But I don't want to use him with these chalky stacks. I don't want to play like a Wheeler Cabrera lineup with Boston and Cleveland.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I mean, let's just get right to it. I think I'm going to just go through my ownerships on both the sites. Actually, I'm not playing FanDuel, so I'm just going to go over what I got. So for me, pitching wise, I'm not locked in anybody. My top guy is Wheeler at 50%. And then I have Robbie Ray at 46. I'm playing 20 lineups, by the way. And then I have my next highest owned guy is Josiah Gray at 36%. And then I have 20% Giolito, 20% Cabrera, and 15% Come on, you guys know who it is. I'm just trying to. Ohtani. So that is my entire pitching pool. Where are you at pitching wise? Then we'll go into hitting.
Well, if these ownerships are anywhere near close, I have 27% of Castillo, and that could turn into 50%. I'm not saying it's some lock or anything, but this guy is.
Well, hold on. You're bringing up an incredible point. So this is so I want to discuss this with you because I always have this debate with myself. So let's say that you like a guy who is let's just say 3% owned, right? Let's say he's 3% owned, and you think that he's like a tremendously great play. Okay, how much of it should you have? So in other words, when I first got into DFS, I was like, boy, if I think that he's like the best play and he's 3% owned, why don't I have 100% of him? And then the way to argue it is, well, you don't need to have that much of him to be quote unquote over the field, right? So even if you have 20% of him, then you're still having a lot of leverage. So my question, based on the way you just phrased that, is if these ownerships are right now I have 30%, whatever it is, Castillo. If the ownership remains low, I might end up having 50. So would you expand your ownership if the other ownership remained low, or will you just be content to say, well, you know what, I have enough leverage as it is?
The weird thing is, I feel like I have like leverage in other ways, so I don't need to do it. But I think that it's. Let's just take it. So he's pitched against Milwaukee 3 times this year. He's averaging 19.5 fantasy points per game. Woodruff has pitched 3 times against Cincinnati. He's averaging 17 fantasy points per game. One guy's going to be 35% owned at a higher price. The other guy's going to be 3% owned. I am just happy to eat all of that up. I'll take all the – so in this case, I do want to take more because I would like to take a stand on another pitcher because I have Wheeler at 50% like you, and then I'm spread out. I have, Cabrera at a little less than 20. I've got Buehler at 15%. I've got Robbie Ray at 25%. I'm probably going to go a little lower than Ray on that one, but I am stacking against him, so, that's my other way. I have 10% Pivetta, 20% Gray. I'd like to take a little bit more of a stand on another pitcher. And I'm not saying that I expect Castillo, if this played a bunch of times, to necessarily be the best player on the slate. But if we just take his recent form, he's the second best pitcher on this slate. The third best pitcher on this slate behind a really tough matchup for Buehler and Zach Wheeler, who I love. But at the same time, it's not like that. Look, it's Tampa. They strike out, whatever, but they're really good. Like Castillo, against Milwaukee, I don't know. I feel like people are treating him like they're looking at his overall numbers, which is a huge mistake in my opinion. You should look at what the pitcher, because it's not like this is coming out of nowhere with him. You know what I mean? We knew how talented this guy was. He had a horrible, horrible start to the season. I believe he lost his first 7 games. He has been lights out, except for one start since then. And even when he hasn't put up a huge number, he's pitched well in those games. Got himself into a little bit of trouble late in a couple of them. He had the 6 walks against Milwaukee. That's kind of worrisome, in one of those games. But every other game is in the 20s, and there's upside of 30 plus, which we've seen with him. And the fact that no one's going to play him, I think you do want to get higher than the field on this. I don't love recommending a play that I think does have some volatility, but I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. And I'm continuing to find myself clicking that Castillo button more and more. I'm also using him on FanDuel. I really like him. I don't think this is a guy who should be put in a lower tier than all these other guys. I feel like that's a little bit fake. And it's just people are just going on overall numbers, and you hear everybody talk about hard hit rates and all this. Look at the trend of what's happening now. After a good pitcher comes back after the All-Star break and is lights out after struggling the first half of the season, I'm going to take him to more be the pitcher he's always been, which has been this guy. So I'm very high on him. I don't have him in my highest buy-in tournament right now. It's weird because I'm sort of doing that thing with Ohtani where currently on FanDuel I have him in my biggest buy-in, but I don't really have him many other places. A little worried about the extreme hitters umpire. He can get himself into trouble sometimes. I like the hitting conditions in that game quite a bit. Some of the players on the other side of the game. But I think that Wheeler and Ohtani, if you feel like your stack is different enough, is a good way to go. But I don't think I just don't want to play the high-owned guys, so I don't see as any different. And the only one who's really going to be crazy low-owned is Castillo. And Blake Snell, maybe you could make a little argument. I think he'll get some ownership. Oh, Buehler being the other one. So the fact that Buehler's going to be, Buehler's the best pitcher in baseball, or best pitcher in the National League this season, and it's not even close, by the way. I really don't think that it's been close since Jacob deGrom has been out. How can no one play him? Just give me that 2-man combination and let me play whoever I want hitters-wise. and I'll live with the results. You know what I mean? If they're anything like what their median has been since the All-Star break, even considering the tough matchup for Buehler, if it's even close to what their median is, and these other pitchers, a Wheeler gets hit, or the other guys all have blow-up paths. So I just feel like it's a really, really good spot to take some Castillo. I can't believe no one in the world is going to play him and Buehler, who's, I would say he's going to win the Cy Young, but we're going to get a little bit more of DeGrom. So if he goes like another 30 innings and doesn't give up more than like a run, it's going to be hard to argue against him even in a short sample. But anyway, that's my spiel for how to get different on this slate. I think there's a really good argument for him. I even was into the Snell idea a little bit, but I think Snell is the problem. I like Gray better than Snell. And I think they're going to be similarly owned. And you're an extreme hitters umpire for Gray and Cabrera in that matchup, which just gives you a feeling of like, wow, if I really wanted to get different, maybe I get a little bit of a, maybe not a stack of the game, but just get some players on both sides. There should be some walks. There should be opportunities for guys to drive runners in. If they have trouble finding the zone, that's what you're going to run into some, power upside. I just think that's an interesting route to go as well. Anyway, we can talk about stacks in general. I sort of talked a lot about the pitching, but I think that's a really good way to get different on this slate. It doesn't make sense. And maybe what happens, and my guess is usually when I see these things happen, by the time it comes in, he ends up like around 12% in the big buy-ins or something, because people are not going to be dumb enough to miss on this. He is not that much different of a pitcher than these other guys. You're just, people are just basing it on his early season numbers. And these projection systems that you look at all the time, that's what they're going off of. They're making that mistake, in my opinion.
With respect to the hitting, let me go over where I'm at on DraftKings. And then the other thing I'm going to do, by the way, to fill in a little time, is I am actually going to put together a FanDuel lineup just for you guys. I just want to play one lineup. I'll play it in like the single entry thing or whatever, just based on what I got. I have in my 20 lineups, I have 5-man stacks in 10 of them, actually almost most of them. And the 2 highest owned teams I have are the White Sox and the Red Sox.
Look at you go! Look at it. You took a little page out of my book there. I love it.
I did. I want, you know what? I X'd out, like I said, when I X'd out the Twins, whatever it is, and I X'd out Woodruff, it got me, some a little more Josiah Gray, got me a little more whatever, and I was able to get up to the White Sox and Red Sox. So I literally have equal amount of White Sox and Red Sox. And then the next highest owned overall I have, it's actually 15%. Well, in the 5-man sets, I have 15% Baltimore because I can't help myself. Mm-hmm. And I have 10% Washington.
Okay.
And then a sliver of Toronto and a sliver of Philadelphia. When it comes to 4-man stacks, I was able to get, in addition to the White Sox, Red Sox, and Washington, I got to a couple of Tampas. And then on 3-mans, I did actually get to one Angels 3-man. I did get to one kind of semi-stupid Miami 3-man. So that's where I'm at. I told you I X'd out Minnesota artificially. They wanted to give my numbers wanted to give me Arizona. I just didn't feel like it. So I X'd that out too. And I got myself some White Sox, got myself some Red Sox, and I'm kind of happy about both.
I like that very much. I did want to add that I think that every argument I made for Luis Castillo also goes for Giolito. Now, it is a tougher matchup, Giolito. They're both not dream matchups, but Giolito's is a tougher matchup. But against a righty-dominant team, for a guy who's really good against righties, to be like 4 or 5% owned at 8,300 and I'm not exaggerating when I say he has the highest. He is tied with Wheeler. They're probably about, I don't even know, he might even have a higher one. Their ceilings are very similarly through the roof. And he's 8,300. And people aren't playing him against the coldest team in baseball. If it beats me today, you know what would really piss me off though? I've stacked Toronto. I don't remember a day where I haven't stacked Toronto, at least some lately, not one. And it's going to balance out. They're a better hitting team. I don't buy into that they're no good and all this stuff, but if they go off today, it's going to be very aggravating because that is the one thing I'm not doing is playing a Toronto stack. And it is the first time that I haven't done that. And I'm playing enough lineups to get there. I just like my other stacks better.
Yeah, I got one. I mean, I got sore. I mean, yeah, I got one with Adams, Guerrero, Semien, and yeah, I just actually got a 3-man. I think.
Who's Adams?
Riley Adams.
Oh, Riley Adams. Wait.
Oh, he's on Washington. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was happening.
I
There's been
know.
so many guys in different lineups lately. It's like hard. Like, I'm putting together my Red Sox stack, and I see Michael Chavis on FanDuel at 2K, and I try to get him in. Oh, he's on Pittsburgh, but I still like him. You know what I mean? It's just everybody's in different spots than they used to be. Oh, maybe I want to take a couple bats against Castillo. Oh wait, Travis Shaw's in Boston. You know what I mean? Like, it's just everybody's on different teams. All these weird little. I've never seen a year with so much turnover in players. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love Timothy's question here. Timothy's been literally thinking the same thing as me. It doesn't always necessarily work, but we've been on the same page with this. We talked about the Mets yesterday. I think that there's a really good argument for some of these Giants lefties. I did force in a stack of theirs. I think you can play any, and I think you can play the lefties on the other side as well. For the Mets, I think that game is getting completely overlooked, and I think that's a good way to get different from a slate that's going to have a lot of chalk. But I think I like it a little better with maybe 1 and 2 men because I saw such a huge ground ball rate in general for Walker. But he's been giving up a lot of home runs lately and hasn't been quite the same guy, even though he had a couple decent outings. And I guess just to name my plays, I like Wade, Belt, Dickerson, and then you can mix in Crawford, Casali if you need a cheap catcher, and Yastrzemski. I need to find a way to force Yastrzemski into a lineup because he is going to be 0% owned, and he is a guy who can get the ball in the air and just matchup wise, but no one will play him, especially even if they play San Francisco. So I think he's the other one.
All right. Anybody got a problem with Josiah Gray as my pitcher on FanDuel? I didn't think so. Okay.
Josiah Gray is my main pitcher on FanDuel in my main lineup.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I don't know if I love it. I'm a little worried about that. I don't like these young guys when they don't get their calls. You know what I mean? That can become a really big problem. And I know Gray has been good, and even his numbers were pretty good with control always. His stuff is electric, but I just get a little bit nervous with that. But he is my guy right now because I wanted to get in. And in my main lineup on FanDuel, I am using a White Sox stack.
I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in your tournament, so we're not going to have the same thing.
You're not in the 333?
No, I'm not in anything. I'm just going to enter the Roto Grinders 33 single entry just for fun.
Okay, yeah.
So we're going to put in Tim Anderson. We're not going to worry about salary right now. First base, we're going to put in. What position is Sano? Oh, we can play them both, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But let's put in. I'm going to put in Sano first.
Rody says Karn says Rody will ship the 1650. Ship it, Rody. I'm rooting for you, buddy. I didn't even get time to take a little piece of your action, but I'm for you, man. I hope you take down the 1650. I considered trying it today and then thought better of it.
Wait, what position is Sano?
First base.
Why can't I find him?
Just look up Sano.
Because I'm stupid? I guess.
I mean, you thought he's just really cheap, I'm sure.
I don't have him.
Oh, maybe he's on the lineup today. I actually didn't even notice.
No, he's not even.
What?
Yeah, I guess he's not listed anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what they try. They try to get more lefties in there. I'm just curious.
Yeah, but not even as like a reserve. Wait, what's going on with FanDuel here?
Well, they just want. No, he's in the lineup.
Sano's on Minnesota.
Yeah, he's in the lineup today. He's batting
I'm
fifth.
talking about the White Sox. So hold on. So
no.
Anyway, I'm going to say Abreu, Anderson, Robert. Okay. And then fourth guy I have is Polanco. So I'm going to put him in. No, is Polanco on the Twins too? He's on the Twins. Why do I keep getting these guys? Anderson. Oh, Jimenez. Okay.
I'm really selling myself on this. Other pitchers have the same thing as Wheeler and all these guys. So I'm going to get into even more of it and get even more like Pivetta. I just think there's upside for all these guys. And I don't see them as being so much worse where we need to start playing, just locking in these other pitchers. I do think Wheeler stands out to me above everybody else. But other than that, I mean, I can make a case for Bryce Wilson today too. There's a lot of guys who have options and that could have big games. And we've seen what happens with the chalky top spend ups lately. I honestly think this ownership's going to be wrong, though. I think you're going to see some ownership. I don't think you'll see it on Pavetta, but I think you will see more on Giolito and more on Castillo than currently it's being projected, but it's still going to be low. And I'm very into the Bueller thing as well.
I'm trying to figure out how to complete this this lineup here on FanDuel. So let me see. I want to be low owned, but it doesn't have to be that low owned. How about the Pirates? Who's second base for the Pirates? Chavis is 2K. Brian Hayes is 2,800. What position is Reynolds nowadays?
Outfield.
And now I have one position of a utility. I could spend up to 3,800. I could be a freaking hero. Let me see. I'm going to go into my projections. Just literally see who the best 3,300 guy, 3,800 guy I have. And that is going to be Kyle Schwarber. So we were going to one-off Kyle Schwarber. And there you go. So we're going to put that in. That's in. And just in case, wait, I was going to say just in case. No, not just in case. That's the lineup. Hope it wins.
It's one of those things where now it's funny because I'm looking at these guys with their 20, like, I want the ceilings. I think there are some guys who are going to have ceiling type of games or 30-ish games tonight. But if you just told me I could go in and I just didn't have to look and I could somehow get 35 to 40 out of my pitchers, I would tell you that there's no way I'm losing because I cannot. And it's honestly the chalk pitchers who have been absolutely massacring me. But that's not really influencing the entire reason why I think this is a good time to get off the chalk. I just think you have guys who are similar to the Woodruffs, to even the Wheelers, that are cheaper and significantly lower owned. And I mean, I can't imagine if the season started and we had Robbie Ray pitching against the White Sox, it would literally be the most popular stack on the board and it wouldn't be close. But he's been unbelievable this year. I just think there's other options. I just don't think we need to do any of these pitching things. We don't need to play Cabrera. I do think Cabrera does have some upside, though. The more I looked into it, I think there really is. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he struck out, 7 guys and gave up nothing in 6 innings or something, or maybe even 8. But I don't see that as the most likely outcome. I think they'll be very careful with him, personally. If he struggles, if he doesn't struggle, then it's all bets are off. If he goes, just 6 up and 6 down, he might end up having a monster game.
See something. That's good. And that's good. And so
I'm just going to take a quick look at Bueller just because I'm pretty sure I know what the answer to this is. But I don't think I'm going to hate it, just so I feel a little bit better about that play. I mean, yeah, there's been some power against him. It's mostly been Trent Grisham and Tatis, but he's literally they're hitting 186 off of them. His strikeout rate's only 25% in almost 100 plate appearances, but like. Why are we afraid to play Walker Buehler? I mean, I know it's a scary matchup, but like the guy is a machine. He just doesn't have bad games.
Yeah, but is that good enough?
Yeah, why isn't it good enough? Why do you need the other? Like, it's not like he averages the same amount of fantasy points as Zach Wheeler does. Exactly on the number. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what exactly? He's had as many games over 30 as any of these guys have.
Okay.
Now the matchup is tougher for sure, but. I mean, I don't know. I'm on board with it. I really think when you factor in the ownership, there's no way one guy should be 6 times owned what the other guy is when the other guy's actually the better pitcher. In almost any matchup, I would say that at the elite levels.
So, by the way, I have like a wild suggestion for you. By the way, like
What's
if
that?
you if you are if you're like not in contention and you have like a Walker Buehler lineup going later,
Mm-hmm.
nah, he's going to be low owned, right? Nah,
He's not going to be owned, so it's not going to.
I forget.
You're going to say to switch over to Snell?
I was going to switch over to Snell and leave 3,000 on the table.
Yeah, well, I'm playing some Dodgers tonight, but I just mostly it's just Turner, Pollock, a piece of Muncy, a piece of Seager, but like that's pretty much it. But I don't mind Snell at all. I'm the one who recommends him against the Dodgers all the time. Like, and
Yeah,
I nearly laughed off the air last time I tried when we were in New York, and he was fine. He was good. He put up 21 fantasy points. It's not, but when we're saying that, is it good enough for somebody? I don't think that his ceiling is anywhere near the other pitchers' ceilings, because the Dodgers are. We talk about these other matchups being tough matchups. There's no tougher matchup. Now, he is the kind of pitcher who gives the Dodgers problems, but that doesn't mean like that he'll last 4 or 5. That doesn't mean he'll last 5 innings. This is a big series. If he struggles and he walks like 4 guys, which is totally on the table because the Dodgers are patient, they make you throw a million pitches. In that sense, that you'd think it'd be a terrible matchup for Snell. It's just the off-speed junk that he throws. They have trouble with soft-throwing lefties who are, have not good control, have good strikeout ability.
right.
Anyway, I'm playing way too much Austin Hedges. I need to figure out a way to turn those into some Max Stassi's, because Stassi is
Austin Hedges.
Well, I'm just playing that team. I'm playing Cleveland. Okay. I'm playing some Texas too, but not a full stack. Just the compliments. I'm keeping my stacks pretty much. As I said before, the White Sox, Boston, Cleveland, and the Angels mini stack mostly because I can't bring myself to click some of those buttons on DK. But I didn't cross off Minnesota. I do have like some Kepler and Donaldson, but those are in my White Sox stacks, so I'm not worried about the ownership too much. And by the way, like the White Sox being low owned today, like they're low owned, but like maybe the right move is to not go all or nothing. Maybe it's to get a couple White Sox bats against Ray, because I do expect somebody to take him deep. I expect somebody to steal some bases off of him. I could see players getting there without really having them to score. Not like I feel like if they score 4 runs off of them, there's a good chance you got 3 guys and with high double digit numbers. Because I think the stolen base power upside is really there for this matchup.
Hey, Bobby, can I ask you a question? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, there's a chance that that this might crash, in which case I will just relaunch it or whatever it is. But I'll
answer that question real quick real quick if you don't mind. Best outfielder options out 4K or below. Rosario I like better at short, but I think I don't even know if he's both on DraftKings. Only short. Maybe he's only short on DraftKings. Yeah, he's only short on DraftKings, but he's both on FanDuel. I like Kepler at 3,900. I have an unhealthy amount of Alex Verdugo. I love Adolis Garcia.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep playing this guy. These are the under 4K guys. I like Santander. I like Dickerson. Okay. I like Mercado a lot at 2,200. So those are the guys who I'm using under 4K in the outfield. But we can go if you guys want to. I mean, Sheets, if you want to get that's cool. We try to do it for the half hour.
Well, I'm just saying technologically, I might end up having to crash the program. I might have to relaunch. That's the only thing.
Pollock batting cleanup today.
If it happens, I'm just going to relaunch it. We'll see what happens.
I need to build out or edit some lineups here. Let's see.
So good. Can't believe it hasn't crashed yet. It says I actually clicked off close the program because it says Google Chrome has stopped working, but it just hasn't closed yet. And yet the stream is still going somehow. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll just keep talking. But if there's any questions, you got to read them to me because I literally can't see anything.
Okay. I'm just making a few edits here on my line.
Can I ask you a question? Can you still see my screen, Bobby?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like amazing. This is like the afterlife. It's like it looks like everything crashed, but yet still somehow my screen is visible to people.
The question about liking Gray on DraftKings versus I like Gray on both sites. I didn't mention this is an extreme hitters umpire. It does worry me a little bit. So I have a tiny bit less than I thought. But I do like Gray. Yes, I significantly prefer Gray over Snell, but it wouldn't surprise me it's fairly close-ish between those guys, and I think that they're going to be owned similar. Gray will be owned higher, but it won't be that much higher, and I prefer Gray. Robbie Ray has really been firing out those quality starts, hasn't he? Oof. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Shaw. By the way, I want to just point out there were people it was really funny to me last night what was happening in the chat, because literally we were on the second inning in our Discord and everybody's given up on the Slade and why can't the Red Sox score any runs? And I'm going, what? Second inning, guys! Come on, what are we talking about here?
Really?
Yeah, it was really early on, and of course they scored 9 runs and everything. Yeah, obviously it wasn't maybe some of the guys who everybody had, but they obviously put up a big game. I was really why are we this exactly?
That's the thing about baseball, man. Once you get to that bullpen, anything's possible.
Ain't that the truth?
You can't run out the clock in a baseball game.
Right. Yeah, I'm starting to come more and more around to the Buehler thing because we've heard this so many times with him. Oh, this is a tough match. He has to play in the tough division, the Giants, the Padres, and then in Colorado. Those are tough matchups, and this guy just constantly does it. He just doesn't really fail. And I'm not saying there's nothing he never does. I think he's had 2 or 3 starts all year that wouldn't have been great to have him, but I'm rolling with some of that. I can't resist. Yeah, on FanDuel, I'm using my pitchers are Gray, Buehler, Ray, Wheeler, and then I'm using Pivetta as in my long shot tournaments.
Oh, you are using some Pivetta.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I said he's another one of these guys that is going to, if he gives up 2 or 3 runs, I could see him having 8 strikeouts in 6 innings and being really solid, and he might give up 2 solo home runs.
Yeah.
One, two, three, four, 1, 2. Well, I really didn't stack that very well. I have an accidental 2 3-man stack. It doesn't make any sense on FanDuel. Shaw could play. There any other stacks that maybe we haven't talked about that other people are into? I do think there's some merit to that San Francisco thing, but I think I would use it more as a mini stack. But I think even as a full stack, you could definitely get there and be really happy with playing that. I could certainly get behind it. Angels bottom of the lineup was tilting the Discord last night. Yeah, it was. The whole Angels lineup except for Ohtani was basically the nuts, though. I'm into Cleveland. I think this is a good day to be off the wall, Rody. I like that you're off the wall day because I think this is a really good day for it. One thing is let's not forget Bailey Ober is not like the worst pitcher in the world, and I do like Boston, but we've seen this guy turn in really good games against some good teams, and the bullpen sucks, sure, but like I just think that it's not like Boston's guaranteed to score 50 runs tonight. Oh, we have no Pujols in the lineup tonight. Got to edit him out of a couple lineups.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna run.
Okay.
But I'll be. You know what? I gotta run. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you guys want to hang out here, just stare at my screen for a little bit. But I just have to run out for a couple of minutes.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Good luck.
No, I'm gonna keep the screen
going.
Okay.
Whatever. All right, I'll keep poking my head in. Sorry, let's put Seager in. It'll work. Dickerson. Yeah, what happened with the guy, Brooklyn Juice, who didn't enter a lineup? Did we find out if he was alive? I know that at one of the live finals I was at, the guy passed away. One of the guys had passed away. That was sad to hear. And there was way too many jokes about how he was paying the rake that made me a little uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about someone's death like that. You get Gosselin in there now for the Angels. Let's see their lineup. Yeah, we are back to no Justin Upton. So get Justin Upton out of your lineups, fellas. Which makes this lineup even weirder to try and stack, but for 13 runs last night without him, the problem is, and without Ohtani doing anything too. How about that Nate Lowe game last night? It wasn't wasted, but it was a tiny bit wasted because there were so many first basemen who put up 25 plus fantasy points. But that was quite a game. 5 for 5, and he literally just missed a couple more. Like he might have. That was crazy. Giolito, put that up. Guys, pop in any more questions. I'm just whittling my lineups down as I am one to do.
Okay. Sure.
One other play I'm using some of is Naquin and Jesus Sanchez, by the way, as some value. Santander and Garcia also being the other ones. Save second base options on DK. I'll tell you who I'm playing. I have Arias as a spend down, even though I don't love it. I have Urias some. I've got Yoni Hernandez some. I've got mostly Kike, Trey Turner, Van Meter. Those are most of my second basemen. I'm seeing if I'm missing anybody. Oh, Chavis is the other one. But mostly it's I do like Chavis and I do like Kike. I definitely wish I had a little more Juan Soto in my life tonight. Yoni Hernandez is part of my Texas things too, so wanted to throw that in there. I like Abreu as a one-off. I think it's a really interesting play, X factor. There are good first basemen I expect to have production at lower prices, but I think he's a really good play in a stack or as a one-off. I really like Abreu in this matchup. I also think you can play Andy Ibanez at the minimum if you need it. Stalling, yeah, I like Stalling as a one-off. What does it say on the brim of my hat? The Dodgers? Oh, the little thing. Dodgers. Thanks, Brooklyn Juice. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a chance. I don't want to make it sound like it's a sure thing, but I will say that I do have, he's now my second highest owned pitcher on DK, and it's pretty close with him and Giolito and Bueller, along with Ray, who's the chalky one. And then Wheeler's obviously the one I have the most ownership of. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much going to be it. So I'm going to get out of here. Good luck to everybody. Let's crush it tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and all those things. Remember, you can join for a month free. All that stuff right now. It's coming up on football season. We're going to have a lot of new stuff that we'll be putting out all the time. Also, check out the golf video if you guys are interested. I think that we broke it down. It was kind of a fun little video. And yeah, so let's crush it tonight, guys. Give us the good news when you're winning something, and we'll be in Discord all night. Good luck, everybody.